You're traveling through the unknown, a journey beyond the corners of reality, where the shadows whisper and the chill runs deep. Welcome to the dimension where your deepest fears are given form. This is The Midnight Mystery.
Welcome to The Midnight Mystery. This episode is called Locked In, when the Superstore becomes a death trap. In each episode, we delve into the shadowed corners of our existence, bringing you tales of the eerie, the uncanny, and the downright terrifying. From the realms of the supernatural to the depths of the human psyche, no stone is left unturned, no dark secret left hidden. As the clock once again draws near midnight, prepare to embark on another adventure into the uncanny, the eerie, the horrifying, the midnight mystery. Attention patrons, a masculine voice echoed through the store's sound system. Proceed to the rear of the store at once. The rear? I quietly questioned Daniel. Shouldn't we be going to the front to check out? It was nearly 9 p.m., just a few minutes before the store closed for the night. We'd taken our children out for a late Walmart trip, hoping it would tire them out. But all they did was fuss over new Lego sets and Hot Wheels cars. The evening had been less than ideal, and it seemed the real chaos was yet to unfold. Proceed to the rear of the store at once, the voice re-emphasized. This is not a drill. Surveying the scene, I realized other customers seemed just as bewildered as we were. An elderly woman squinted at the ceiling speakers. "What's going on?" another woman inquired of her partner as she pushed a cart filled with gardening items. "Didn't you hear?" An older gentleman piped up, leaning on his cart filled with water bottles and canned goods. "Tornado watch. One's been spotted in Sourville." A tornado? Sure, the sky had been dark and ominous earlier, but it didn't look dire. "Do not remain in exposed areas. I repeat, do not remain exposed," the voice continued. Suddenly, a cacophony erupted. Wheels of shopping carts squeaking, hurried voices, footsteps racing across the floor. This can't be real. Quickly, I navigated the toy section, carrying Tucker, with Daniel and Jackson trailing behind. After a few winding turns, we found ourselves in the electronics department. My eyes locked onto the wall-mounted TVs, and I imagined us, trapped underneath the falling screens. "Avoid windows and doors," the overhead voice cautioned. "Do not try to leave the store." "Is it safe here?" Daniel shook his head. "Open spaces aren't safe. I'll go see if there's a staff area or something. Wait here, all right?" I nodded, my arms trembling. I sat on the floor, sandwiched between two gaming shelves. Tucker sipped on his bottle while Jackson giggled, asking, "Is the tornado going to smash into the store and make everything fly?" I can't say. The concept of a real tornado rampaging through our town felt surreal. We had only moved to Indiana from New York 6 months ago. I'd never experienced a tornado alert before. Daniel reappeared. "It's all locked," he reported, sitting beside me. "But Fairview's large. The odds of it hitting this particular Walmart are slim." "I shouldn't have brought us here. You couldn't have known. There should have been alerts, on our phones or a siren or something." Once again, the voice resounded throughout the store. "Do not remain exposed. Ensure you are not visible to any security cameras." "That's odd," I mused. "What do security cameras have to do with tornadoes?" My stomach churned as I noticed several dark globes descend from the ceiling, obscuring the cameras. "Let's take their advice and stay out of sight," I whispered. I clutched Jackson's hand while Daniel lifted Tucker into his arms, and together we sprinted into the main aisle. The store looked like a ghost town. Deserted carts filled with a random assortment of items, from pies to batteries, sat at odd angles in the aisles. Muffled footsteps reverberated from hidden corners where other people had taken cover. We weaved around a cart brimming with soda bottles, skirted the kitchenware section, and finally came to a halt in an aisle adorned with Easter decorations. A surveillance camera hovered above the main passageway, but as long as we stayed in the heart of the Easter aisle, we'd go unnoticed. We huddled together on the floor, sandwiched between some slightly unsettling Easter bunny figurines. "I'm hungry," Jackson muttered. "Quiet." "But Mom?" I snatched a bag of pastel-colored chocolate eggs from the shelf and tore it open. "Here, have some candy." "Happy now?" I whispered, pressing the chocolates into his palm. Exhausted, I leaned back against the cold metal shelving. My moment of respite was short-lived. A strange electronic hum emanated from above, followed by the unnerving voice over the intercom. Steer clear of aisles containing food items. Discard any food you possess and find a new hiding location. If you have open wounds, cover them with cloth. What on earth? None of this had anything to do with tornado safety. We need to get out of here, Daniel murmured, rising to his feet. But the tornado... Do you hear any wind? I strained my ears. Silence. No wind, no rumbling, no clattering of debris against the structure. But what if it's still approaching? I get that the warnings are strange, but stepping outside... We have to leave. Now. Daniel gripped Jackson's hand while cradling Tucker. Let's go. Daniel, this might not be wise, I cautioned. Then the voice returned. Assume a fetal position. Place your hands over your head. Keep your eyes closed and do not open them under any circumstances. That settled it. Run! We dashed down the central aisle, heedless of the security cameras. The store's exit loomed ahead, a dark rectangle growing larger as we approached. And as we neared it, it became clear. Daniel was correct. Under a street lamp at the edge of the parking lot stood a tree, utterly motionless. Our feet pounded past the clothing section, past the impulse-buy snacks at the checkout. The sliding glass doors were just ahead, almost there. Almost. They didn't budge. No, no, no! Daniel lunged against the unyielding glass, making it tremble under his weight. I wedged my fingers into the slim crevice between the doors, pulling with all my might. Nothing. We're locked in, I said softly. I want to go home, Jackson piped up. Tucker started to fuss, his whimpers escalating towards a full-blown cry. And as I turned around, that's when I spotted him, a Walmart employee. Seated at the end of one of the checkout lanes, his back to us, donned in the iconic blue vest adorned with a golden starburst. Hey, open the door, I yelled. He remained silent. Do you hear me? Tornado or no tornado? You need to unlock the door now. Still, he didn't respond. But then I noticed something, the sound of wet, chewing noises. My eyes narrowed as I stared at the man, hunched forward, engrossed in something. Was he consuming something? The overhead speaker buzzed, filling the room. Attention! Avoid speaking to any Walmart employees. A chill crawled down my spine. The muffled chewing ceased. Slowly, the man rose to his feet, leaning on the checkout conveyor for support. His hands, I now saw, were soaked in blood. My legs felt like molasses as I retreated. No, no, no. Suddenly, a hand clamped around my arm. Run! Daniel screamed. Heart pounding, I followed him deeper into the store, Tucker peering at me from over Daniel's shoulder while Jackson's small feet hustled to keep up. Somewhere behind me, a soft, rhythmic slapping sound echoed, but I didn't dare look back. Daniel veered into the apparel section. We zigzagged around circular racks of clothing and displays of baby garments before he screeched to a halt, ducking into the changing rooms. Here, he gestured towards one of the booths. We crammed ourselves in and locked the door. Daddy, Jackson began. Listen closely, I cut him off, dropping to his eye level. You must be absolutely quiet. Not a peep, understood? Jackson glanced from me to Daniel and then nodded, taking a seat on the floor. I'm going to call 911, Daniel whispered, shifting Tucker into my arms while pulling out his phone. After tapping the screen, his expression clouded. What's wrong? No service. I don't understand why... Thump. I yanked Jackson away from the door, and we huddled in a corner. Every muscle in my body tensed. Thump. A pair of men's shoes appeared under the door gap, inching further into the dressing area. Don't move, I breathed to Jackson. Another step. Silence. Stillness. Just... Tucker emitted a soft wail. The footsteps halted. They pivoted, toes pointing towards our cubicle. No, 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 Tucker's cry amplified, filling the confined space. My nails dug into Daniel's flesh. No. A hand materialized below the door, its skin stained in red. And then his knees, as he began to crouch down to look through the gap. No. Could he possibly squeeze through? The gap under the door wasn't that narrow. It reminded me of a bathroom stall. If he pressed himself flat against the floor, he might just make it. My eyes widened in terror as his abdomen appeared in the space beneath the door, followed by his blue Walmart vest. His arm slipped underneath, sweeping aimlessly as if groping for us. This is the end. We're done for. Then his head lowered, and his face came into view. My God, there was something unspeakably eerie about his face. He grinned, a horrifically wide grin revealing teeth tinged with blood. His skin was an ashen hue, almost bluish, and his eyes were an unsettling milky white, devoid of pupils or irises. I felt a scream building. "Attention, shoppers," a voice echoed from the overhead speaker. "No, no, no. Kindly proceed to the checkout counters for your final purchases. We'll be closing in 10 minutes. What? Suddenly, as if pulled by an invisible force, the man vanished from view. The sounds of dragging resonated, as though his body was being hauled away from the dressing room. I stayed glued to the door, trembling, while Tucker's cries filled the air. He never returned. Within 10 minutes, the store regained its typical soundscape. Voices, footsteps, the rolling wheels of shopping carts. Still shaking, I stood up and unlocked the door. Walmart looked like any ordinary day. Shoppers queued at the registers, placing items on conveyor belts while employees scanned them. As they approached the glass exit doors, they glided open seamlessly. As we cautiously approached the exit, I noticed the older man who had alerted us about the tornado earlier. "What was that all about?" I asked, my voice quivering. He shrugged. "Looks like the tornado gave us a miss. Quite the miracle, wouldn't you say?" With a smile, he stepped through the sliding glass doors and vanished into the darkness. I hope you enjoyed our episode. I'd like to extend a heartfelt thanks to you, our brave listeners. Your presence in this shared journey into the unknown is what fuels our stories. Your fascination is our motivation. Did this episode send chills down your spine? Then leave your comments, your thoughts and theories, your own midnight mysteries. Your feedback is the beacon that guides us through the uncharted territories of our stories. And if you haven't already, remember to subscribe to our channel. By joining the Midnight Mystery family, you won't miss out on a single chilling tale. As a subscriber, you'll be the first to know when a new episode lurks around the corner, ready to pull you back into the shadowy depths of the unknown. This is the Midnight Mystery signing off, leaving you with a simple reminder. When the clock strikes 12, fear the silence, for that's when our tales come to life. Good night, Midnight listeners. And remember, not all who wander into the dark are lost.